There's always a new corner of the world waiting to be explored. Some are well known, others are still secrets. But all are worth the journey. These are the ones you'll be glad you found. How does a city thrive where wild storms and crocodiles rule? Darwin, in Australia's far north, is tropical, bold, and unlike anywhere else. Its skies crack with lightning, its markets smell like spice and sea, and its people live close to both nature and myth. Mindil Beach Market is Darwin's sunset ritual. As food stalls sizzle and local artists perform, the crowd gathers to watch the sun drop into the ocean. It's a sensory feast, from Thai noodles to indigenous crafts, all bathed in gold. Just outside Darwin lies Litchfield, waterfalls, rock pools, and red dirt paths through ancient bush. Swim under Wangi Falls or rest at Florence Creek. It's raw, real, and refreshingly untouched, a wild escape still within reach. What if Japan's Alps rivaled Switzerland, minus the crowds and souvenir stalls? Kamikochi Valley is a pristine stretch of the Japanese Northern Alps, accessible only from spring to fall. With alpine peaks, crystal-clear rivers, and sacred shrines tucked into forests, it's one of Japan's most breathtaking hidden natural wonders. This iconic suspension bridge crosses the Azusa River with dramatic mountain views all around. Mist curls from the forest while snowcaps glisten in the distance, and you're more likely to meet a macaque than a tourist. A sacred and serene pond near Hotaka Shrine, Myojin Pond reflects surrounding trees like a mirror. Local legends say a water deity dwells here, and it's not hard to believe. Kamikochi is not just scenery, it's an experience of stillness. No cars are allowed in the valley, and you walk through nature's cathedral in complete peace. For a moment, the world feels hushed and holy. What if your hotel floated gently on a shimmering lake, surrounded by woven reeds and snow-draped peaks? Puno, Peru, is your gateway to Lake Titicaca, the world's highest navigable lake. Situated in the Peruvian Andes, this high-altitude city blends ancient Inca roots with vibrant indigenous culture. One of its most fascinating features? The Uros floating islands, hand-woven from totora reeds. These artificial islets have housed communities for centuries. Walking on them feels like stepping onto a sponge. The homes, boats, even lookout towers are built entirely from reeds. At the city's core lies Plaza de Armas, where colonial cathedrals rise beside bustling markets. In the evening, it comes alive with music, dancing, and street food that warms the chilly Andean air. Puno hosts the dazzling Festival of the Virgin of Candelaria, a UNESCO-recognized event filled with ornate costumes, trumpets, and non-stop parades. Its color, rhythm, and devotion packed into 10 unforgettable days. Have you ever dipped into waters so luminous and milky blue, you'd swear they were painted by a dream? The Blue Lagoon. Iceland is a geothermal spa located in a lava field on the Reykjanes Peninsula in southwestern Iceland, just a short drive from Reykjavik. Fed by mineral-rich waters from deep within the earth, this surreal pool remains at a soothing temperature year-round, even as snow dances across the surrounding black volcanic landscape. This isn't just a beautiful hot spring. The silica, algae, and minerals in the lagoon are said to offer therapeutic benefits for the skin. Steam rises in thick, ethereal clouds, creating an otherworldly ambiance unlike anything else on Earth. Though man-made, the Blue Lagoon harmonizes with Iceland's raw, untouched terrain and embodies the island's geothermal soul. It's a place of contrasts, heat and ice, stillness and intensity. Tip: visit at twilight, when the pastel skies blend with the glowing water, and you'll feel like you're floating between two dimensions. What if the domes you see today once shimmered with the dust of ancient caravans? Bukhara, Uzbekistan, is not just a city. It's a living manuscript of the Silk Road, filled with turquoise minarets, sun-drenched courtyards, and the whispered echoes of centuries-old trade. Set in the Kizilkum Desert, Bukhara has over 2,000 years of history layered into its walls. At its heart lies the Kalyan Minaret, once the tallest structure in Central Asia, rising beside an exquisite blue-domed mosque. Wander through the labyrinth of bazaars beneath domed roofs, where carpets, spices, and stories are still traded. This was once a hub of Islamic learning, home to scholars, poets, and architects. Each madrasa, caravanserai, and hammam speaks of intellectual and spiritual prosperity. Its old city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserved in astonishing authenticity. Bukhara doesn't just show you history, it lets you step inside it. You believe you're looking at a vast blue sea, but it's actually a colossal volcanic crater. Welcome to Lake Toba, Indonesia. Located in North Sumatra, this is Southeast Asia's largest lake and the site of one of Earth's most powerful supervolcanic eruptions. Today, it's a serene highland retreat surrounded by green hills and shrouded in mist. At the lake's heart lies Samosir Island, nearly the size of Singapore, floating within the caldera. This island in a lake in an island is home to the Batak people, known for their soulful music, bold architecture, and warm hospitality. It's a world within a world. Visit the Batak Museum in Simanindo, where traditional stilt houses with dragon head roofs house centuries-old musical instruments, heirlooms, and sacred puppets, all part of a rich, animist-rooted culture that predates most major religions. Lake Toba's scale is hard to grasp, 100 kilometers long, 30 wide. The eruption that formed it is believed to have affected the global climate. Today, travelers come for quiet hikes, natural hot springs, and sunrises that paint the mountains in gold. You'll often hear the call of church bells echoing over water, a rare sound in Muslim-majority Indonesia, hinting at the Christian Batak heritage. What if the most colorful city you ever saw was surrounded by lava fields, glaciers, and northern lights? Reykjavik, Iceland, is the northernmost capital in the world, a compact, vibrant hub perched on the edge of the Arctic. Located in Europe's most geologically active island, it sits amid volcanoes, hot springs, and black sand beaches, offering a surreal backdrop to city life. In Reykjavik, traditional turf houses stand beside cutting-edge architecture like Harpa Concert Hall. Its Hallgrímskirkja church soars like basalt rock, and from its tower you see the sea merge with snow-capped peaks. The city is alive with music, design, and Icelandic folklore. Though small in size, Reykjavik punches above its weight culturally. Locals believe in elves, and the streets light up during winter festivals. Did you know the city runs almost entirely on renewable geothermal energy? And when the auroras dance overhead, the skyline becomes part of nature's own light show. Imagine a town carved from stone, where Ottoman rooftops glisten under Balkan sun. This is Gjirokastër. Tucked into the mountains of southern Albania, Gjirokastër is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that feels like a living museum. Cobbled alleys twist past slate-roofed homes, and everything, from walls to streets, seems sculpted from stone. Known as the City of Stone, Gjirokastër is a masterpiece of Ottoman architecture. The massive hilltop fortress, one of the Balkans' largest, dominates the skyline and offers sweeping views over the Drino Valley. Inside, cannons and Cold War-era artifacts evoke layers of turbulent history. Birthplace of Albania's most famous novelist, Ismail Kadare, the town breathes literature, mystery, and revolution. Local artisans still weave rugs and silver by hand, and traditional guest houses serve mountain herbs and slow-cooked lamb beneath vine-covered terraces. This is a place where time walks slowly, where every step clicks on stone, and history greets you from every carved doorway. Ever dreamed of walking through clouds above rice fields that ripple like green silk? That's Sapa. Perched in the Hoang Lien Sun Mountains of northern Vietnam, Sapa is a misty highland retreat where terraced fields cascade down steep valleys, creating one of the most iconic landscapes in Southeast Asia. This region lies near the Chinese border and is home to vibrant ethnic minorities, including the Hmong, Dao, and Tay peoples. Their colorful clothing, open-air markets, and traditional crafts bring rich texture to this mountain town. Fansipan, the roof of Indochina, towers nearby at 3,143 meters, accessible by Asia's longest cable car or a multi-day trek through cloud forests and bamboo groves. Villages like Lao Chai and Kat Kat offer immersive cultural experiences amid dramatic scenery. Sapa's charm lies in its contrasts. Foggy mornings give way to golden afternoons, and ancient customs thrive alongside modern cafes. It's where Vietnam whispers its wildest, most poetic secrets. What if the calmest beaches in Mexico weren't in Cancun or Tulum, but tucked away on the Baja California Peninsula? La Paz, Mexico, offers an untouched coastal experience where turquoise waters meet desert cliffs, and the Sea of Cortez reveals its wonders without the crowds. Jacques Cousteau once called this sea the world's aquarium, and it's easy to see why. Often ranked among the most beautiful beaches in the world, Playa Balandra looks surreal. A shallow, warm lagoon with white sandbars, mangroves, and mushroom-shaped rock formations. It's ideal for paddleboarding or simply floating in silence. The La Paz Malecon is a breezy waterfront walkway lined with sculptures, seafood cafes, and families enjoying the sunset. Bronze dolphins and whale sharks pay tribute to the marine life offshore. Sunsets here aren't just pretty, they're spiritual. The mountains turn orange, the water becomes glass, and the city exhales. La Paz is quiet magic, wrapped in sunlight and salt air. Have you ever walked through a city where clouds kiss the rooftops and time drifts like smoke from a wood stove? San Cristobal de las Casas, in Chiapas, sits high in the mountains of southern Mexico. Surrounded by pine forests and steep valleys, it blends indigenous tradition with colonial beauty. The air is cool, the streets cobbled, and every corner hides a story. Templo de Santo Domingo is San Cristobal's Baroque jewel. Its pink stone facade, carved in floral detail, guards a serene convent courtyard. Inside, golden altars shimmer under shafts of light. It's a place of silence and reverence, echoing centuries of faith. The artisan market explodes with color and texture. Here, tzotzil and seltal women sell hand-woven textiles, embroidered huipilis, amber jewelry. Every stall is a burst of culture, and each purchase supports living traditions passed down for generations. What if your city was once the capital of a vast medieval empire, and its history still clung to the cliffs like ivy? Veliko Tarnovo, often called the City of the Tsars, is Bulgaria's most dramatic town, where ancient fortresses perch on ridges above winding rivers and cobbled streets tell tales of grandeur, revolution, and resilience. Zarovets Fortress is the crown jewel of Veliko Tarnovo, a sprawling stronghold atop a rocky hill, once home to the Bulgarian Tsars of the Second Empire. Visitors walk through stone gates, past ruined walls and reconstructed towers, ending at the patriarchal cathedral, now adorned with bold, modernist frescoes that retell Bulgaria's turbulent past. This preserved craftsman's street is a living museum of Bulgarian tradition. Here, blacksmiths, potters, and woodcarvers still practice their trades, and you can sip Turkish coffee in 19th century taverns that feel untouched by time. It's a window into a Bulgaria where folklore and craftsmanship still matter. Veliko Tarnovo is more than history. It's a place of poetic contrasts. Modern cafes nestle inside Ottoman-era buildings. Students from the local university give the town an intellectual buzz. And the nightly light show over Zarovets Fortress reminds you. This city remembers its past, but it's still alive, evolving, and quietly captivating. Think Bali is paradise? Wait until you take a boat across the waves and land on Nusa Penida, where the island dreams of Instagram come to life. Nusa Penida, Indonesia is a rugged, enchanting island just off the southeast coast of Bali. Less developed and more raw than its famous neighbor, It offers dramatic cliffs, crystal-clear lagoons, and secret beaches that look like they were carved by the gods themselves. The island's iconic spot, King Beach, is famous for its T-Rex-shaped cliff and turquoise water crashing against pure white sands. Nearby, Angel's Billabong and Broken Beach are natural oceanic pools set into volcanic rock, offering an unreal mix of serenity and power. Despite its rising popularity, Nusa Penida still maintains a slower pace. Hindu temples dot the island, like the cave-shrouded Goa Giri Putri, and locals live in harmony with the rhythm of sea and soil. Marine life thrives here too. Manta rays and vibrant coral reefs await divers and snorkelers. It's not the easiest place to reach, but maybe that's what keeps its magic intact. What if the Alps had jagged, rose-colored peaks that catch fire at dusk, and valleys where time flows as slowly as mountain streams? Welcome to the Dolomites, Italy, a dramatic mountain range in the northeastern part of the country, within the southern limestone Alps. Located across Trentino Alto Adige, Veneto, and Friuli Venezia. Giulia, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is an alpine masterpiece. The Dolomites are famous for their enrosadera phenomenon, when the pale rock glows pink and orange at sunset. Key highlights include the Tre Cime di Lavaredo Peaks, the elegant mountain town of Cortina d'Ampezzo, and the serpentine mountain pass of Stelvio, adored by cyclists and drivers alike. This region is a tapestry of cultures, where Italian, German, and Latin traditions intertwine. From wood-carved chalets to hearty alpine cuisine, it offers a deeply rooted local identity. Fun fact: parts of the Dolomites were once beneath a prehistoric sea, which explains their fossil-rich formations and unusual geometry. Kyoto, Japan. Located on the island of Honshu, Kyoto was once the imperial capital and remains the spiritual heart of Japanese tradition. Surrounded by mountains, its temples, shrines, and tea houses are nestled into a city that feels like a living museum. At the center of Kyoto's timeless allure is the Fushimi Inari Shrine, where thousands of vermilion torii gates wind through a forested hillside. Walking through them is like stepping into a sacred corridor suspended in time and silence. Kyoto is home to 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and over 1,600 Buddhist temples, yet what truly defines it is its subtlety. The quiet rustle of kimono fabric in Gion, the serene reflection in a Zen garden, or the aroma of matcha during a tea ceremony. It's a place that whispers rather than shouts. While modern life pulses discreetly beneath the surface, Kyoto remains a sanctuary of refinement. Here, beauty isn't just seen, it's practiced, preserved, and passed down through generations. What if you could walk through a city where sand-colored forts rise from the desert like mirages, and the scent of frankincense leads you into another era? Nizwa, Oman is a living relic of Arabian history, tucked into the Al-Hajar Mountains of the Arabian Peninsula. Once the capital of the country, this city breathes centuries of wisdom through its architecture, souks, and silence. With a blend of arid landscapes and lush oases, Nizwa is both stark and stunning. The city's crown jewel is Nizwa Fort, a 17th-century masterpiece built by Imam Sultan bin Saif al-Yarubi. With its colossal circular tower, hidden trapdoors, and panoramic desert views, the fort was designed not just as a royal seat, but as a military stronghold. Walking its ramparts, you feel time slow down, every stone echoing tales of sieges and strategy. Nearby, the Nizwa Souk is a kaleidoscope of color and tradition. One of the oldest markets in Oman, it's where you'll find hand-forged khanjars, silver jewelry, and fresh dates stacked like treasure. The famed Friday Goat Market is an experience in itself, chaotic, loud, and thrilling, offering a raw glimpse into Bedouin barter culture. Nizwa is also a gateway to Oman's Grand Canyons and date plantations, including the spectacular Jebel Akhdar. It's a place where desert meets green, and heritage thrives in every alley. Few cities on Earth feel this timeless, untouched, yet welcoming. Have you ever walked through a village where time simply stopped? Albarracin. Spain isn't just historic. It feels like a medieval dream come to life. Albarracin, Spain is a fortified town nestled in the hills of Aragon, often named the most beautiful village in Spain. Enclosed by medieval walls and perched on a steep hill above the Guadalquivir River, this rose-hued town seems untouched by the modern world. Its narrow alleys wind between terracotta-colored buildings with wooden balconies and iron lanterns. The town's architecture is a mix of Islamic and Christian influences, reflecting its complex past during the Reconquista. The 10th century castle and cathedral add to its timeless ambiance. Declared a national monument, Albarracin resists commercial overdevelopment, preserving its authentic charm. Evenings here are especially magical. The silence of the narrow streets broken only by the distant chime of church bells. It's not a place you pass through. It's a place you feel, like stepping into a forgotten chapter of Europe's story. What if fairy tales were real places? Rain-soaked, wind-swept, and filled with wooden churches. Chiloé Island, Chile, floats off the coast of Patagonia like a myth come to life. Mist hugs its green hills, while the Pacific roars against its edge. It's a world shaped by fishermen, mermaids, and whispered legends. In Castro, the island's main town, find the iconic palafitos, colorful wooden houses built on stilts over the tides. Their reflections shimmer in the bay, and some have been converted into cozy cafes and guest houses. Painted bright yellow with lilac towers, the Church of San Francisco is a UNESCO-listed wonder. One of 16 wooden churches across the island, it's a masterpiece of local carpentry, built entirely without nails. Locals speak of ghost ships and forest goblins. Folk mythology here isn't just alive, it's part of daily life. Chiloé isn't visited, it's discovered. What if an entire city looked like a spilled palette of watercolor? Pinks, blues, and yellows tumbling down a canyon. Guanajuato, Mexico, is a colonial gem in the country's heartland, built into hillsides with tunnels weaving beneath and alleys winding above. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, it enchants with its maze-like structure and bohemian soul. Teatro Juarez, an architectural marvel, stands as a beacon of Guanajuato's artistic identity. With its neoclassical columns and Moorish interior, it hosts international festivals like Cervantino, turning the town into Mexico's cultural capital each autumn. The Callejón del Beso, Alley of the Kiss, is a tiny passageway so narrow that lovers can kiss across balconies. It's wrapped in romantic legend and a must-visit for couples who want their love blessed by tradition. Founded on silver, Guanajuato still bears traces of mining heritage with underground roads and the eerie Museo de las Momias. Its hills offer sweeping views, while mariachi music and student troubadours fill the cobblestone streets with timeless charm. Can you imagine waking up in a stone village where the clouds brush medieval towers and snow blankets a forgotten world? Ushkali, Georgia, is Europe's highest permanently inhabited settlement. Tucked deep within the Greater Caucasus Mountains, this UNESCO-listed community in the Svaneti region is a hauntingly beautiful relic of time. At the heart of Ushkali stands the Lamaria Church, a 12th century stone sanctuary surrounded by watchtowers and legends. Locals believe it holds protective power, with women lighting candles here for generations. Even the journey to Ushkali, winding through glaciers and ancient forests, feels mythic. The Svan people speak their own language and preserve a culture steeped in hospitality and honor. In winter, the village becomes a silent white dream, untouched by crowds or noise. Ever seen a city where the rain paints the rooftops like poetry? Bergen isn't just wet, it's enchantingly alive. Bergen, Norway, is nestled between 7 majestic mountains and 7 fjords on Norway's rugged west coast. Often called the gateway to the fjords, this maritime gem blends wild nature with Nordic charm. Its waterfront, known as Bryggen, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a line of colorful wooden buildings that once served Hanseatic merchants. From Bergen, travelers can embark on legendary journeys through the Nærøyfjord or Hardangerfjord. Marveling at plunging waterfalls and glacial cliffs, the Fløibanen funicular takes you above the city for sweeping views, while cobbled streets lead to hidden cafes, fish markets, and museums echoing Viking history. Despite its frequent rain, Bergen pulses with music, art, and storytelling. Edvard Grieg, Norway's greatest composer, called this city home. Local legends whisper of trolls in the hills and sea spirits in the fjords. In Bergen, mist doesn't conceal the beauty, it reveals it. No cars, no rush, just whispering canals, quaint thatched roofs, and boats gliding like gondolas in a dream. Giethoorn, located in the Dutch province of Overijssel, is often called the Venice of the North. But unlike Venice, it offers pure peace. Here, waterways replace roads, and the main mode of transport is whisper boats that float silently past flower-laced cottages. The village is laced with over 170 wooden bridges arching above gentle canals. Rent a boat or bike along the water's edge, and you'll feel like time has paused. The charm is organic. No tourist traps, just nature and nostalgia. Originally settled by peat harvesters, Giethoorn grew around its canals, and its thatched roof homes have remained largely unchanged for centuries. Fun fact, there's a local rule. If you can't garden, don't move in. In Giethoorn, every window box is art, and every curve in the canal reveals a new postcard moment. Have you ever seen a forest where waterfalls sing, lakes shift colors with the light, and the air feels like ancient poetry? Welcome to Jiuzhaigou Valley, China. Hidden in the northern reaches of Sichuan province, at the edge of the Tibetan Plateau, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is a natural marvel, known for its vividly colored lakes, tiered waterfalls, and snow-capped peaks. Stretching across 3 valleys, Jiuzhaigou is home to dreamlike spots like the 5-flower lake, with water so clear it mirrors fallen trees beneath its surface. Norilang Falls, one of the widest in China, roars over cliffs wrapped in mist. In autumn, the entire forest blazes with fiery reds and golds. This sacred land has long been inhabited by Tibetan and Chang ethnic groups, whose influence permeates the prayer flags, stilted houses, and mystic legends surrounding each glacial lake. Jiuzhaigou means Valley of 9 Villages, a nod to its cultural roots as much as its natural splendor. Every turn here reveals another layer of magic, one where Earth's artistry seems utterly boundless. What if the trail ahead was nothing but silence, sky, and ice? The Arctic Circle Trail, stretching over 160 kilometers from Kangerlussuaq to Sisimiut in Greenland, is one of Earth's last great wilderness hikes. No roads, no towns, just tundra, lakes, and the northern wind. The trail begins near Kangerlussuaq, where musk oxen roam the mossy plains and ice sheets shimmer on the horizon. This former U.S. military outpost now launches one of the most remote hikes on the planet. The journey ends in Sisimiut, Greenland's second-largest town. Colorful houses clinging to rocky hills and Inuit culture pulsing through daily life. It's a sharp return to civilization after days alone with the wild. Along the trail, you camp under endless twilight and drink from glacial streams. There are no crowds, no cell towers, just you and the pulse of the Arctic. Can a place be so pristine it feels painted? Lake Louise is a jewel hidden in the Canadian Rockies, where turquoise waters reflect untouched alpine glory. Lake Louise, Canada, is located in Banff National Park, Alberta, nestled high in the Rockies. Fed by glacial melt from Victoria Glacier, Its surreal blue-green color changes subtly with the seasons and sun. The lake is overlooked by the iconic Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise and framed by peaks like Mount Victoria. Popular activities include canoeing across its shimmering surface in summer or ice skating on its frozen mirror in winter. Trails like the Lake Agnes Tea House hike offer panoramic views of surrounding ridgelines. Historically, Lake Louise is sacred to the Stoney Nakoda people and was named after Princess Louise, daughter of Queen Victoria. It became a key stop on the Canadian Pacific Railway and a symbol of wilderness luxury. Interesting fact: the lake maintains its radiant turquoise color thanks to rock flour, finely ground particles from glacier erosion suspended in the water, scattering sunlight like millions of tiny prisms. Queenstown, New Zealand. Nestled on the shores of Lake Wakatipu and cradled by the jagged peaks of the Remarkables, Queenstown is the adventure capital of the Southern Hemisphere. Located on New Zealand's South Island, it offers a mix of alpine splendor and adrenaline-pumping experiences. The town pulses with energy. In one day, you can bungee jump off Kawara Bridge, ride the Skyline gondola to panoramic views, and sip wine from a vineyard tucked into the hills of nearby Gibbston Valley. For nature lovers, hikes like Ben Lomond or cruises on Milford Sound unveil breathtaking serenity. Originally a gold mining settlement, Queenstown has evolved into a cosmopolitan mountain retreat. It hosts international film festivals, gourmet food events, and is surrounded by landscapes immortalized in the Lord of the Rings saga. This is a place where luxury meets wilderness, where thrill meets stillness, a town that promises both action and awe in equal measure. Think you know Los Angeles? What if we told you it's not a city, but an entire world hidden in plain sight? Los Angeles, USA stretches across Southern California like a cinematic sprawl, from the sun-kissed Pacific to mountain trails above Mulholland Drive. This city isn't just about stars, it births cultures, dreams, and entire genres. Explore Griffith Observatory for views that blur skyline and stars. Then stroll through the Getty's Hilltop Gardens and world-class art. Skate through Venice Beach or get lost in Koreatown's food maze. Each district is a universe. Latin rhythms in East LA, Persian sweets in Westwood, street art in Echo Park. Founded in 1781 by Spanish settlers, LA grew into the beating heart of American entertainment. But beyond the film reels, it's a city of reinvention. From taco trucks to luxury towers, every block tells a different story. Los Angeles doesn't ask who you are. It lets you become anyone. What if a single place could feel like both a European fairy tale and a tropical dream? Gala, Sri Lanka, sits on the island's southwestern coast and enchants visitors with its timeless blend of Dutch colonial architecture and coastal serenity. Nestled beside the Indian Ocean, it's where cobbled streets meet palms and history whispers from coral walls. Built by the Portuguese and later fortified by the Dutch, Gala Fort is the crown jewel of the city. With its massive ramparts, lighthouse views, and crumbling bastions, it feels like walking through a living museum. Inside, art galleries and cafes nestle among ancient walls, blending modern life with colonial charm. One fascinating fact: Gala is one of the best-preserved sea forts in all of South Asia. Time seems to pause here. Every sunset over the ramparts feels like a private showing of nature's masterpiece, as the sky ignites above the endless Indian Ocean horizon. What if medieval streets held echoes of kings, scholars, and revolutions, all in one city square? Krakow, nestled in southern Poland near the Carpathian foothills, is a jewel of Central Europe. Once the royal capital, it's a city steeped in resilience, intellect, and haunting beauty. The Old Town, a UNESCO site, centers around Rynek Główny, Europe's largest medieval square, alive with street music, cafes, and horse-drawn carriages. Climb the towers of St. Mary's Basilica to hear the legendary trumpet call. Wander Wawel Castle, where Polish kings ruled for centuries. Beneath the surface lies a different story. Ancient salt mines, underground museums, and remnants of a powerful Jewish heritage. Kazimierz, the Jewish quarter, hums with art and memory, while the nearby Oskar Schindler factory tells stories that still matter. Krakow balances beauty and weight with grace. Here, every stone has a story, and every visit becomes a quiet conversation with history. Have you ever stumbled upon a town where Gothic towers rise beside Art Nouveau curves, and no tourist crowds? Žilina, Slovakia, is that rare Central European gem. Tucked near the borders of Poland and the Czech Republic, it's a city of green hills, history, and architectural harmony. At its heart is Mariánske náměstí, a medieval square where pastel facades and covered arcades create a tranquil rhythm. Cafes spill onto cobblestones, untouched by rush. Nearby stands Budotin Castle, dating back to the 13th century. Once a river fortress, it now rises serenely above the Váh, sheltering a rare wire art museum within its historic walls. Žilina balances old-world charm with modern vibrance, as university life breathes youthful energy into its quiet streets. A forgotten capital of elegance and perfect stillness. What if the soul of Europe danced with the fire of Latin America? You'd get Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires, Argentina, sits on the eastern edge of South America, along the Rio de la Plata. Often called the Paris of the South, it's a city of elegant boulevards, passionate tangos, and an energy that seems to radiate from every corner cafe and bustling market. From the colorful alleyways of La Boca to the leafy charm of Palermo and the grandeur of Recoleta Cemetery, Buenos Aires blends old-world architecture with modern verve. Don't miss Teatro Colón, one of the world's greatest opera houses, or San Telmo's antique fairs and street performers. Buenos Aires is where Evita made history, Maradona is legend, and tango was born in smoky bars and cobbled streets. Want an odd fact? The city has the highest number of bookstores per capita in the world. Whether you're sipping Malbec, dancing at 2 a.m., or simply watching life from a bench, the city makes you feel alive. What if you could walk along golden cliffs at sunset while waves crash against hidden sea caves beneath you? The Algarve, Portugal, is nestled on the southern coast of Europe's Iberian Peninsula, hugging the Atlantic with wild intimacy. Known for its dramatic limestone formations, warm beaches, and quaint fishing villages, the region stretches from Sagres to Vila Real de Santo Antonio. Ponta da Piedade steals the show, a natural sculpture garden of arches and grottos carved by the sea, best explored by kayak or boat. Inland, whitewashed towns like Tavira and Silves echo centuries of Moorish influence. This coastline has been a haven for seafarers, poets, and pirates alike. The blend of Roman ruins, azulejo-covered churches, and Arabic fortresses reflects its turbulent yet rich past. Here, locals still celebrate traditional festivals like the sardine-sizzling Festa de Ria Formosa, and surfers chase winter swells in Lagos. With over 300 days of sunshine a year, the Algarve offers more than beauty. It's a timeless escape wrapped in sea salt and citrus blossoms. What if you could walk a trail where every turn reveals a new pastel dream, clinging to cliffs above the sea? Cinque Terre, Italy, is nestled on the rugged Ligurian coast of southern Europe, where 5 medieval villages, Monterosso, Vernazza, Cornelia, Manarola, and Rio Maggiore, rise like watercolor brushstrokes from the cliffs of the Italian Riviera. The famed Sentiero Azzurro, or Blue Trail, connects these villages through vineyards, lemon groves, and sea views that blur the line between landscape and art. Manarola's vibrant houses cascade toward the harbor like a living mosaic. Rooted in tradition, Cinque Terre has resisted overdevelopment, preserving its charm with terraced agriculture and tiny trattorias, serving anchovy pasta and local Chiacatra wine. Fishing boats rock gently in sunlit coves, while church bells echo off canyon walls. It's not just picturesque. It's profoundly human, built by generations who learned to thrive where land meets sea in defiant beauty. How would it feel to watch ancient tribal dancers covered in feathers and face paint move to the beat of jungle drums? Mount Hagen, Papua New Guinea, delivers this living anthropology. Located in the highlands region of the island, it's a high-altitude city surrounded by lush mountains and volcanic ridges. The land is rich, misty, and alive with customs untouched by modernity. The annual Mount Hagen Cultural Show is a kaleidoscope of traditions, where dozens of tribes gather in full ceremonial attire to perform ancestral songs, rituals, and war dances in a celebration that feels otherworldly. Few places on Earth offer such raw access to intact tribal life, from the Huli Wigman with their iconic headdresses to the Melpa people's spirit-led beliefs. Here, stories aren't read. They're sung, painted, and danced into being. Banff National Park, Canada. Set in the heart of the Canadian Rockies in Alberta, Banff is a protected natural masterpiece with glacier-fed lakes, dense pine forests, and snow-capped peaks that seem to touch the heavens. It's one of the oldest national parks in the world and remains a bucket list location for nature lovers and adventurers. The park's crown jewel is Lake Louise, a turquoise expanse framed by Victoria Glacier and backed by an amphitheater of mountains. In summer, it's ideal for canoeing. In winter, it transforms into a dreamy ice skating rink surrounded by frost-laced pines. Banff's town site exudes alpine charm, with cozy lodges, thermal hot springs, and a rich First Nations and pioneer history woven into its museums and cultural centers. Wildlife roams freely. Grizzlies, elk, and mountain goats are regular sights. Few places blend wilderness with accessibility so seamlessly. Every turn in Banff is a postcard come to life, an invitation to breathe deeper and feel smaller in the best way possible. What if the Earth could bend like waves on water? The Wave, Arizona, USA, is one of the most surreal landscapes on the planet. A sculpted masterpiece of Navajo sandstone, hidden deep in the desert near the Utah border. Its swirling lines, layered in fiery reds and sunburnt golds, seem more like brushstrokes than geology. Accessible only via a highly restricted permit system, the Wave is sacred and exclusive. Just 64 people per day are allowed to enter. This preserves its delicate formations and heightens the sense of pilgrimage. The 6-mile hike through the Paria Canyon Vermilion Cliffs wilderness is challenging, but stepping into the Wave is like walking inside a painting. Formed over 190 million years ago, the site was once sand dunes, slowly compressed into stone. Native American tribes consider the area sacred, filled with spirit and silence. Cameras struggle to capture it. The reality is far more powerful. The Wave is a visual hallucination made real, sculpted by time, guarded by nature. What if you could stand at the edge of the world where jagged mountains meet icy waters and the silence feels eternal? Ushuaia is that last frontier. Ushuaia, Argentina, lies on the southern tip of South America in Tierra del Fuego, surrounded by the Marshall Mountains and the Beagle Channel. Often called the southernmost city on Earth, it's the gateway to Antarctica and a hub of Patagonian wilderness. Key attractions include the dramatic Tierra del Fuego National Park, offering glacier-fed lakes and beech forests, and the End-of-the-World Train, a historic railway once used by prisoners. The city's port also welcomes ships bound for Antarctic expeditions. Founded as a penal colony, Ushuaia has a rich and complex past. Today, it balances rugged remoteness with a surprising cultural depth, including museums, local art, and hearty Fuegian cuisine shaped by survival in extreme latitudes. Fun fact, Ushuaia's location makes it one of the few places on Earth where you can witness both the southern lights, Aurora Australis, and snowfall in summer, a paradox only this wild corner of the planet can offer. What if every sunrise revealed thousands of ancient temples across a mist-covered plain? Welcome to Bagan, Myanmar, sits in the dusty heart of the Mandalay region and boasts one of the world's most awe-inspiring archaeological landscapes. Spread across 40 square miles, Over 2,000 temples, pagodas, and stupas rise from the earth, the remnants of a once mighty Buddhist kingdom. Built between the 9th and 13th centuries, these sacred structures vary in size and style. From towering Ananda Temple to the humble brick ruins where monks still chant. When dawn breaks, hot air balloons float silently above, casting shadows over the golden domes and glowing spires. Unlike many ancient sites, Bagan remains active. Locals still pray, meditate, and gather for festivals. It's both a ruin and a living sanctuary. Fun fact, at its peak, Bagan had over 10,000 religious monuments. To walk here is to time travel across centuries of devotion, all beneath an ever-changing sky. What if an old mining town became a canvas of murals, caves, and coffee? Ipoh, in western Malaysia's Perak state, is wrapped in karst hills and colonial nostalgia. Once booming with tin, it's now known for its hip cafes, temple caves, and food that rivals Penang's. The charm here is subtle. It lingers in the air. Kek Lok Tong is a temple hidden inside a limestone cave. Past the towering entrance, gardens bloom beneath dripping stone, and golden Buddhas glow in filtered light. It's tranquil, sacred, and otherworldly, a sanctuary carved by time. Concubine Lane tells whispers of the past. Once the hidden retreat of tycoons and mistresses, it now bursts with boutique shops and vintage cafes. Narrow, busy, and full of flavor, it's where old stories meet new life. What if a city rose from the desert like a futuristic mirage? Dubai, UAE, defies logic and gravity. Located on the shimmering Persian Gulf, this megacity is a masterclass in ambition, where tradition and ultra-modern design walk side by side through golden dunes and marble malls. The Burj Khalifa pierces the sky at over 828 meters, offering dizzying views of a skyline that didn't exist a few decades ago. Man-made islands shaped like palms and continents redefine the coastline, while the Dubai Mall is a labyrinth of luxury and indoor waterfalls. Yet just outside the city, endless sand dunes whisper stories of Bedouin heritage. Dubai blends old souks filled with spices and gold with flying taxis and robot police. It's a place where Friday prayers echo near Formula One tracks, and where Falcons and Ferraris share the same airspace. This city isn't just modern, it's a vision of what tomorrow might look like if dreams had no limits. Imagine a land where cliffs drop thousands of feet into green abysses and rare monkeys leap between clouds. That place is real, and it's the Simien Mountains. The Simien Mountains, Ethiopia, rise from the northern highlands of East Africa like a fortress of nature. This dramatic range is carved with jagged peaks, deep valleys, and towering plateaus that earned it a UNESCO World Heritage status for its unmatched geological beauty and biodiversity. Trekkers from around the world come to witness Ras Dashen, the highest peak in Ethiopia, and to meet the park's endemic residents, the shaggy-coated Galata baboons, Ethiopian wolves, and Walia ibex. These species can't be found anywhere else on Earth. The landscape, often compared to the Grand Canyon, offers sweeping panoramas and moments of pure isolation in a world seemingly untouched by time. Fascinating fact: the Simien Range is over 20 million years old, sculpted by ancient volcanic activity. It's not just a hike. It's a journey into Earth's raw, primal soul. Can a city be a time machine? One that dances to the rhythm of rumba while trapped in the golden light of the 1950s? That's Havana, Cuba, a sultry capital suspended between nostalgia and rebellion. Located on the northern coast of the island, Havana faces the Gulf of Mexico with a charm that feels cinematic. Stroll along the Malecon, Havana's breezy seaside promenade, where vintage Chevrolets cruise past crumbling colonial mansions. Explore Old Havana, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, packed with Baroque churches, pastel facades, and hidden courtyards where music never sleeps. This city is a survivor. From Spanish conquest to Cold War intrigue, Havana has preserved its identity with bold colors and sharper rhythms. Salsa spills from every doorway, and cigars are rolled by hand just blocks from revolutionary murals of Che Guevara. Havana isn't polished. It's alive, imperfect, and unforgettable. You've heard of the Alps, but Slovakia's Tatras? They're Europe's best-kept alpine secret. Located on the border with Poland, the Tatra Mountains rise dramatically from the plains, snow-capped and wild. Strbskie Pleso, a glacial lake encircled by trails and pine forests, is the perfect starting point. Its mirror-like surface reflects the surrounding peaks, a dream for hikers and photographers alike. The Lomnicki Szczyt cable car takes you 2,634 meters above sea level in minutes. At the top, you're met with panoramic views that rival anything in the Alps. With bears roaming the slopes and wolves howling at night, the Tatras are both raw and romantic, a place where folklore meets real adventure. Imagine a place where waterfalls tumble from lush cliffs into the Atlantic, where crater lakes shimmer under volcanic peaks, and hydrangeas line every road like a painting. Flores, the westernmost island of the Azores, feels like the edge of the earth, or the beginning of another world. Also known as the Lakes of the Sentinels, this surreal spot features dozens of waterfalls pouring into an emerald basin. The silence, broken only by birds and falling water, is otherworldly. Europe's westernmost village hugs the coastline where cliffs drop into turquoise ocean. A perfect base for hikes, swims in volcanic pools, and stargazing that'll leave you speechless. Flores isn't flashy, it's poetic. With fewer than 4,000 residents, it's a place to breathe, walk slowly, and feel small in the best possible way. This is Europe's last frontier, and it's most magical. You think you know Rome, but nothing prepares you for the moment you turn a corner and find the Colosseum rising like a ghost from the past. Rome, Italy is nestled in the heart of the Lazio region, stretching along the banks of the Tiber River. As the Eternal City, it's a living museum layered in more than 2,000 years of history, myth, and monumental architecture. The Colosseum, the Pantheon, and the Roman Forum are not just ruins, they're touchpoints of Western civilization. Vatican City, an independent city-state within Rome, is the seat of the Catholic Church and home to St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel, where Michelangelo's ceiling still awes every visitor. But Rome isn't just history. Its lively piazzas from Campo dei Fiori to Piazza Navona pulse with everyday Italian life. Trastevere's cobblestone alleys are filled with cafes, while the Trevi Fountain continues to attract wishful hearts. Rome is a paradox. Chaotic and serene, ancient and modern. Every street tells a story, and every traveler ends up writing their own chapter in its eternal narrative. What if the Arabian Nights were real, and you could walk through their golden canyons and ancient souks? Oman, on the southeastern tip of the Arabian Peninsula, is a land where sand meets sea, and legend meets reality. Unlike its glitzier neighbors, Oman preserves its heritage, from crumbling forts to timeless villages nestled in date palm oases. The Wahiba sands stretch endlessly, their dunes glowing at sunset like liquid gold. In the north, Wadi Shab offers a fairy tale hike through turquoise pools and hidden caves. Muscat, the capital, combines ornate mosques, cliffside roads, and the scent of frankincense markets that haven't changed in centuries. Oman is deeply tied to maritime history. Ancient dhow boats still sail its coastlines, echoing its seafaring past. Did you know? The frankincense trees of Dhofar were once more valuable than gold. In Oman, mystery and serenity walk hand in hand, inviting travelers to experience the soul of the desert. What if a city could sing with the sound of ocean winds and the sorrowful hum of fado in moonlit alleys? Lisbon, Portugal's sun-kissed capital, rises over 7 hills along the Tagus River, where tradition dances with innovation. This Atlantic-facing gem blends ancient maritime glory with colorful street life and pastel-toned architecture that bathes in golden light. Explore the labyrinth of Alfama, where trams rattle past azulejo-covered houses and mournful fado songs echo through stone corridors. Bellem's iconic tower and Geronimos Monastery whisper tales of explorers who sailed toward the edge of the known world. A must? Ride Tram 28 as it winds through historic districts. Or savor pastéis de nata warm from the oven. Fun fact, Lisbon gets more sunshine than almost any other European capital. And at sunset, watching the sky blush over the 25 de Abril Bridge from a rooftop bar makes the city feel timeless. Lisbon doesn't shout, it seduces. Have you ever tasted a city? In Porto, every stone is soaked in wine, every alley whispers of the sea, and every view feels like a painting. Porto, Portugal sits along the northern banks of the Douro River, where colorful houses stack above wine cellars and Baroque churches glint in the Atlantic sun. It's the kind of place where time drips slowly, like the fortified port wine that made the city famous. Porto's historic Ribeira district is a UNESCO site, a tangle of narrow streets, laundry-strung balconies, and azulejo-covered buildings. The Dom Luís I Bridge, designed by a student of Eiffel, offers panoramic views and connects to Gaia, where legendary wine lodges host tastings in century-old tunnels. Beyond its beauty, Porto has a soul. The city birthed Portugal's national anthem and has long been a hub of resistance, art, and innovation. Here, locals still gather at cafes to debate politics over sweet custard tarts. Porto isn't just romantic. It's revolutionary, fermented in history and poured into the present. Can a place be both haunting and magical, wild yet strangely intimate? The Isle of Skye says yes. The Isle of Skye, off Scotland's west coast, feels like a landscape born from myth. Its jagged peaks, moody lochs, and mossy cliffs create a dreamscape that changes with every cloud and gust of wind. This is nature untamed, where stories live in the mist. The Quiraing and Old Man of Storr are surreal rock formations shaped by ancient landslides. Fairy pools sparkle with icy blue waters beneath the Cuillin Mountains, while Dunvegan Castle stands as a sentinel of Highland heritage. Each bend in the road reveals a new secret: a ruined chapel, a hidden beach, a glimpse of a red deer. Skye is steeped in Gaelic culture and folklore. Locals speak of selkies and sky dancers, and you'll hear traditional fiddles drifting from village pubs. Its beauty isn't flashy, it whispers, waits, and rewards the patient traveler with wonder. Imagine a place where granite boulders rise from turquoise lagoons, palm trees sway over powdery beaches, and time slows to a tropical rhythm. That's Seychelles, a dreamy archipelago of 115 islands scattered across the Indian Ocean, northeast of Madagascar. These islands are the epitome of a tropical escape. The inner islands like Mahé, Praslin, and La Digue boast lush rainforests, coral reefs, and postcard-perfect beaches, especially Anse-Source d'Argent, often named among the most beautiful in the world. The Vallée de Mai on Praslin is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, home to the rare Coco de Mer palm and endemic black parrots. Historically uninhabited until the 18th century, Seychelles became a melting pot of African, French, and Indian cultures. Today, it's a haven for ecotourism and marine conservation. What if a city in India felt more like a French seaside village than a bustling South Asian port? Pondicherry, India, delivers just that illusion. Located on the southeastern coast, this former French colony still hums with quiet boulevards, pastel townhouses, and bougainvillea-laced facades. It's a cultural fusion. Baguettes meet biryani, and Tamil temples rise beside colonial mansions. Sunlight dances on the Bay of Bengal, while incense drifts from hidden courtyards. The White Town district is Pondicherry's most photogenic area, a grid of colonial architecture with mustard-colored buildings and teal shutters. Cafes spill into the streets, and bicycles glide past ivy-covered churches. Founded in 1926, the Sri Aurobindo Ashram attracts spiritual seekers from around the globe. Meditation halls, hushed libraries, and lotus ponds offer quiet introspection in the heart of the city. Every corner blends serenity and color. Locals gather for sunrise yoga on the promenade, while fishermen pull in nets nearby. A scene that feels timeless and tranquil. How can a capital feel like a frontier town wrapped in sky? Windhoek, Namibia's highland heart, sits at over 1,600 meters above sea level, where desert meets savanna. Its streets echo with German colonial facades, while mountains guard the horizon. It's peaceful, organized, yet always just a breath from the wild. Christuskirche rises like a fairy tale in stone. Built in 1910, this German Lutheran church mixes Art Nouveau with local sandstone and anchors the city center with elegance. It's Windhoek's most iconic landmark, both quaint and surreal. In Katatura Township, the market pulses with soul. Smoke from braais fills the air as vendors sell marula oil, dried fish, and handmade jewelry. It's more than commerce. It's community, resilience, and the rhythm of modern Namibia. What if you could walk through a town where every house looks like a canvas, painted by a dreamer? Guatapé, Colombia, is a visual explosion nestled in the Andes of Antioquia, just 2 hours from Medellin. Its kaleidoscopic houses, cobblestone streets, and eternal spring weather create a surreal backdrop for every step. Tucked near a man-made reservoir, Guatapé is where art meets water and tranquility meets color. Climb the 740 steps of El Peñón de Guatapé, a towering monolith piercing the sky. From the summit, a jaw-dropping panorama unfolds. Hundreds of emerald islands scattered across a sapphire reservoir. It's one of the most iconic views in South America, and it's worth every breathless step. Stroll through the town's vibrant streets, where every building boasts zócalos, artistic panels that tell stories of heritage, dreams, and local life. No two are the same, turning each corner into a gallery of Colombian folklore. Guatapé was once a quiet village, but its burst of color and the surreal beauty of the reservoir transformed it into a haven for artists and wanderers. Boat rides, jet skis, and lakeside cafes offer slow, picturesque days. Fun fact: the giant rock was once considered sacred by the indigenous Tahami people, long before it became a selfie hotspot. Ever heard flamenco echo through palace walls while orange blossoms perfume the air? That's Seville, the sultry capital of Andalusia, is a city where passion dances in every shadow. Located in southern Spain along the Guadalquivir River, it's a mosaic of Moorish arches, Gothic towers, and Renaissance squares, a blend of cultures layered over centuries. The Alcázar of Seville, with its intricate tilework and fragrant gardens, feels like a scene from a fairy tale. La Giralda, once a minaret, now rises beside the Grand Cathedral where Christopher Columbus rests. Wander through Barrio Santa Cruz, and you'll find narrow alleys that burst with color, tapas bars, and spontaneous flamenco. Seville gave the world flamenco. More than music, it's an emotional storm of rhythm and soul. Springtime brings the Feria de Abril, where locals wear traditional dress and dance till dawn. Want a timeless memory? Watch the sunset from Metropole Parasol's rooftop and feel the city pulse beneath your feet. High in the Indian Himalayas, where desert meets snow and monasteries cling to mountainsides, Ladakh is often called Little Tibet. It's a place of stark beauty, thin air, and spiritual depth, where every road feels like a pilgrimage. A sapphire blue lake at 4,350 meters, stretching across India and China. It changes colors with the light, and its silence is broken only by the wind. You'll feel like you've reached the moon. This 15th century monastery is a whitewashed marvel rising from the hillside like a stairway to the sky. Morning prayers here, echoing through ancient halls, feel like something sacred. Whether you're crossing the high passes of Kardung La or sipping butter tea with monks, Ladakh teaches stillness, strength, and wonder. It's not just a destination, it's a revelation. You think it's a fantasy set from a TV series, until you touch the stones and realize it's all real. Dubrovnik, Croatia sits on the Adriatic coast, encased in medieval stone walls that shimmer under the Dalmatian sun. Located in southern Croatia, it's one of the most perfectly preserved fortified cities in Europe. The Old Town is its soul, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with limestone streets, red-roofed buildings, and towering city walls you can walk end to end. Landmarks like the Rector's Palace and Sponza Palace offer glimpses into the city's Renaissance past. Dubrovnik was once the Republic of Ragusa, a maritime rival to Venice with a fiercely independent spirit. That legacy of resilience still echoes in its stone alleyways and sunlit squares. Though it's gained modern fame through Game of Thrones, Dubrovnik's true magic lies beyond the screen. In its warm sea breezes, hidden coves, and centuries of stories etched into every brick. What if palm trees could touch the clouds? Valle de Cocora, Colombia, is home to the world's tallest palm species, the wax palm, reaching up to 60 meters into the misty skies of the Andes. This surreal valley looks like a scene from a fantasy film, where rainforest meets alpine dreamscape. Located in the Quindio region, just outside the charming town of Salento, the valley is part of Los Nevados National Natural Park. A hike through its emerald hills leads you across hanging bridges, through fog-shrouded cloud forests, and finally into vast fields dotted with towering palms, thin and swaying like paintbrushes in the wind. The Cocora Valley holds spiritual importance for Colombia's indigenous Quimbaya people, who once revered the wax palm as sacred. Today, it's a protected treasure, both a biodiversity hotspot and a cultural icon. It's not just a hike, it's a journey through Colombia's green heart, where every step feels closer to the sky. You think Central Asia is all desert and steppe? Think again. Almaty is a city wrapped in mountains, bursting with European charm. Almaty, Kazakhstan, sits in the foothills of the Trans-Ili Alatau Mountains in southeastern Central Asia. It's a rare fusion of urban elegance and alpine wilderness, once the capital of Kazakhstan and still its cultural and financial heart. The city is flanked by towering peaks, and a 30-minute drive takes you to Big Almaty Lake, an ethereal turquoise reservoir surrounded by pine forests and snow-capped cliffs. In winter, head to Shimbolak, one of Central Asia's best ski resorts. Within the city, Panfilov Park and the colorful Zenkov Cathedral capture the essence of Russian Orthodox architecture. Historically, Almaty was a stop along the ancient Silk Road, and that cosmopolitan energy still lingers in its European-style cafes, theaters, and bustling bazaars. Interesting detail: Almaty translates to City of Apples, and the region is believed to be the original home of the domestic apple. A modern skyline, Soviet relics, and mountain views, Almaty is where tradition meets adventure in a way you never expect. They call it the Jewel of Armenia, and rightfully so. Lake Sevan is a shimmering high-altitude marvel located over 1,300 meters above sea level. Covering almost 5% of Armenia's total territory, this massive freshwater lake offers more than just beauty. It's a vital cultural and ecological landmark for the Armenian people. Perched on a peninsula that was once an island lies Sevanavank Monastery, founded in 874 AD. The twin churches stand watch over the lake, creating one of the most iconic and photogenic views in the Caucasus. Lake Sevan is famous for its ishkan, Sevan trout, a delicacy once reserved for royalty. Visitors can enjoy it grilled or baked at lakeside restaurants, often paired with Armenia's excellent white wines. With beaches in summer and snow-capped mountains in winter, Sevan is a year-round destination. The cool, clear water attracts swimmers, windsurfers, and sunbathers, making it Armenia's version of a seaside escape. Have you ever seen stone that looks like it's been painted by the sky? The marble caves, Chile, are a natural cathedral carved into solid rock, floating on the shimmering turquoise waters of General Carrera Lake in Patagonia. Formed over 6,000 years by waves lapping against calcium carbonate, the result is a labyrinth of marble tunnels, arches, and caverns, unlike anything else on Earth. The colors shift with the seasons and sunlight, sometimes silver and white, other times a swirling blend of blue, green, and gray. The most iconic spot is the Marble Chapel, where reflections make it seem as though the cave is floating. Accessible only by boat or kayak, the journey itself adds to the dreamlike experience. This remote location near the Chilean-Argentinian border is rarely crowded, offering a quiet moment of awe in one of the planet's most untouched corners. There are no signs or fences, just nature in its purest, most poetic form. It's not just a cave, it's a floating marble dreamscape sculpted by water and time.